What's happening, guys? Happy Wednesday. Let's get right into it. Boy, a recap of the weekend. Did you guys catch the UFC? It was not a lot of buzz around it. Tyron Woodley is the new world champion in a huge upset. He was close in the betting lines. I understand all that. We talked about this last week. I told you guys I don't know who's going to win. I can't even make a prediction. I don't know. You have to tip towards Lawler as of a week ago. You just have to when it's so close and you don't know. You just favor the champion if you have to say a name. I even told you guys. I said, man, I want to put $1 on this one. I don't know. It was such a great storyline. You got these two guys. They're teammates. They're in the room with each other every day. And each one of them's watching the other one and goes, I can beat him. But they're both saying that. Usually guys know. You go play soccer with somebody, everybody knows who the best soccer player is. You go play basketball, everybody knows who the best player is. Whatever the sport, whatever the situation, you just kind of know, you figure it out pretty quickly. Males specifically, they just know. These guys, they both had the same opinion. They're watching the other one saying, I can beat him. And it leaves you as the viewer going, well, what is it you know? What is it? And so Tyron gets this shot. Now, he caught him. I've seen Tyron land that same punch on so many people. Not everyone goes down like that. He swarmed him. Boy, it was some great ground and pound. Took that belt away. But I've seen him throw that punch, and I've seen him land it. I'm sitting there thinking, well, if I knew that was coming, how did his opponent not? How did his teammate not? Right, if the guy's in the gym with him, let alone if it's just an opponent, breaks down the video, you'd think he would know. That doesn't always have something to do with it. Sometimes people say they want to sit down and figure out what the other guy's going to do. Sometimes the other guy does it so well, you just can't stop him. Mike Tyson, remember him? He used to land those uppercuts on everybody. Well, you knew the uppercut was coming. That doesn't mean you can stop the uppercut. But it was compelling that is Tyron's big move. He will use that T-Wood bomb. He'll use that overhand right. Sometimes he'll hurt you with it, and sometimes he just uses it to close the distance. But it is his move. He's going to that move, which made it all the bit more interesting that it landed and he was able to get a world championship off of it. But it was such a tough card. You know, so many people didn't see it. I don't expect them to have any record numbers. I expect them to have the booby prize. But a lot of that was just because of where they were placed. It wasn't because it wasn't a great storyline and great athletes and a great contest. It's because they got stuck in between the biggest of all time, which is UFC 200, and the biggest fight of 2016, which is Diaz and McGregor. And there's no debate that will be the biggest fight. There was a debate that perhaps Jones and Cormier would outdraw it. Cormier and Jones blew up, never happened. It goes to McGregor and Diaz, period. So these guys get stuck in between. Sometimes it just works that way. There's just a lull. I mean, that's basic biology. Anything that's red hot can only cool down. Well, the UFC was red hot for 200. So, yeah, it cooled down. These guys went out and fought, and I think people missed a great contest. I thought it was a good card overall, and a lot of times that happens. So many people had complained about 200, that it was a letdown and didn't live up. I'm going, well, that could be true, but I don't really know of anything that can live up to the level of anticipation that they had. So then you get a card like the one we saw this weekend. It's overlooked. There's not a lot of anticipation. It's going to be pretty easy to deliver. Would have liked to have seen Mighty Mouse. He pulled out. Hope Demetrius is doing well. I have no update. Hope he's doing well. But there's a new champ, and so now you move forward. So if you guys happen to catch Fox, they had Stephen Wonderboy Thompson in studio. He was working alongside Karen Bryant, Cormier, and Dominic Cruz. They had him in studio. And it was pretty obvious what was going on there. Wonderboy is the number one contender. He's going to get the next crack. Well, that never plays out, right? That's never a guarantee. It's just not until it's signed. So as much as Wonderboy was supposed to be the guy, and may still be, but as much as he was supposed to be, Lawler was also supposed to win. That's the problem. Well, who's Lawler going to fight next? He's already fought everybody. Hendricks just lost. Gastelum's in line somewhere. What's going to happen with Matt Brown and Ellerberg? There's all these moving parts. But now a new player emerges because Tyron Woodley wins. So the new player becomes Lawler. Lawler was never factored into the equation because he was already the constant. He was the champ. So it's who's going to fight him? Well, now all of a sudden, it's who's going to fight Woodley. And it doesn't just default to Wonder Boy. Could go to Wonder Boy. I'd love to see that fight. I think we all would. But what do? You just act like Lawler's not the new number one contender? Of course he's the number one contender. Of course he is. Of course he steps in front of Stephen Thompson. Sure he does. So I don't know what they're going to do there. You got GSP coming out saying he wants the fight. I don't know that I believe him. And if he wants it, then sign it. It's as simple as that. Don't forget, George isn't a guy that needs a contract with the UFC. He has one. He walked away from it. All that means is it's already in place. He doesn't need to negotiate and sit down and do all these different things. He can just sign the contract. So coming out and saying that, yeah, he accepts or wants to do the fight. Well, listen, George, it's a lot easier than all that. You've already got a contract. Go get yourself a bout agreement and do the fight. And if you're not going to do that, then we got to stop. We got to stop. It holds things up. It takes headlines away. You got to pass the torch. You are, in fact, done. Pass it to the next guy. Don't take his headline. Going to have a fun show today. We're going to have Ben Askren on. I want to talk about all sorts of things with Ben. But Ben is an Olympian from 2008, undefeated in MMA, training partner, and was even a coach of Tyron Woodley in their college days at Missouri. Get his take on all of that. But I really want to talk to him. The Olympics is a disaster right now. They're right around the corner, and it's a mess. You've got athletes that refuse to go because the conditions were so poor. You've got the Zika virus going on. You've got athletes that did go that are now bitching about it. And here's how the Olympics works, and most people don't know this. The opening ceremony is going to be this Friday, of which I'll be watching from Buffalo Wild Wings. Hope you guys